The tavern door swung open with force as a young cake strides in confidently, sits down, and orders a drink. He sounds extremely happy, and I get quite curious as to why, since there isn't so much to be happy about in this mining sector. "Say, young one, what's with the cheerfulness? Just got married?" I ask, far too curious to hold back. "Not even close one, I?" He snaps back with a huge smile. "I saw them. I saw the steel dragons. There were two of them flying low. They weren't around for long, but I got to hear that thundering roar as they flew past at blistering speeds. I thought they were only in legends, but it turns out they are real. Today is a good day for me, old man." "Ah, I see," I reply thoughtfully. I remember the old war where my scouting party of 8 dragon riders was destroyed by them. I was the only survivor. The deep screech when they spit fire still haunts me to this day. "So, tell me, Pops, how did you lose your eye?" Cake asks, feathers on his head signaling his curiosity. "I've only been in this frontier sector for about a month. I've seen you around and been wondering why you wear that eye patch of yours. What's even weirder is that you still seem to be working in the pits. That's no place for old birds." "Funny you ask. It has to do with those steel dragons of yours," I say mid-sip. "Really?" Cake replies, surprised and curious. "Did you fight in the old war?" "Yes, I did. I also thought they were creatures of legends until I came across one on a patrol north of the border. It's almost like they know when we fly into their territory, really, with how quickly they respond. I was with an investigation party of 8. We were making our way up to give a report on what happened to the army that marched north. We had barely made it past the estimated border when, in the distance, we heard a deep, unrelenting roar, like something was over the Valley of Clouds, trying to warn us to stay away. Well, we were set on our mission when, out of the nearby clouds from above, fiery arrows the size of an adult struck 4 of the riders, blowing them out of the sky without a trace." I pause to take a sip of my drink, with Cake examining me attentively, checking for any signs of deceit with a hint of awe. "Before we even knew what had happened, before I even turned my head back to look forward, 2 others were hit, this time by what looked like smaller arrows. What was left of them fell to the earth in an unceremonious wreck. I could only hope that they had died instantly. Miraculously, the other 2 bolts missed my wingman and myself. However, the other exploded behind my wingman, taking his dragon out. I can still hear his scream as he fell down below the clouds into hell, bound to his incapacitated dragon, dragged by the straps that kept him safe not even a few seconds ago. It had dawned on me then that I was alone, and seeing as how I was now flying into certain death against an invisible enemy, I had to turn back. I can still remember the grief, the determination to live on for my fallen comrades. I needed to make it back. I couldn't give a report on the missing army, but this I could say. Maybe then I could convince the others that we had started a futile war against heaven. I pause again, taking another swig to collect my thoughts. At this point I could tell that Cake was totally invested in my story, so I continued. But it was then that it happened. A dragon, flying so fast sound followed it like thunder. It flew past in a blink, through the small break in the clouds I was in. The sheer force of it passing startled my dragon to the point that it almost threw me off its back. Luckily, the straps that were my wingman's demise did their job for me. Perhaps the gods didn't want me dead that day, I thought. And then I saw it again, flying past, this time farther away as if it was sizing me up, challenging me to a duel before turning up so sharply and elegantly, reflecting the sunlight that came through the clouds. I decided to follow it as it roared through the clouds, cutting upwards towards the heavens, and when I broke through the top of the clouds, an endless sea of slightly yellow-white stepped back, beckoning me to return to the safety of the earth. I once again pause, this time to order a new drink as I'm getting close to the bottom of this one. If I was to verbalize my nightmares like this, I might as well be too drunk to remember tonight. I glance over at Cake, still sitting there, this time leaning into me with high levels of intrigue. I continue. As I soared above the kingdoms of mortals, I thought that maybe here, my comrades were still flying alongside me, to guide me in destroying this steel beast. I still had no idea how outmatched I was, then, as I looked over my right shoulder, and saw the beast flying towards me, wings folded in, at maximum tilt. I wondered then what mad creature would fly that fast, when it drew its fire breath on me. It wasn't anything I had seen before. It was deadly accurate, a beam of red fire, capable of annihilating anything it hit. The beam flew past me, as the sounds of the creature breathing fire reached my ears. It was a sharper, terrifying roar. The war cry of a mad beast that had gone berserk, looking to kill. Just hearing it was enough to give me nightmares I never imagined possible. The beam of fire missed, and the dragon shrieked past below mine, almost blowing me out of the air again with sheer force. It then turned upwards again, and it was then, against the deep dark blue of the sky, that I finally saw it for what it was. An angel. A cruel and merciless angel, intent on destroying life wherever it saw it. It folded its wing out as it lost speed at the apex of its loop. It was truly the most beautiful thing I ever saw in my life, and then I was at peace. I was ready to be taken by this angel of death. The gods didn't intend on me living that day. They had sent their best angel to destroy us. We had marched into the kingdom of heaven, and they were making sure we never walked out. Gulping down the rest of my drink, I continued. It came down on me as swiftly as it went up, and it once again let out that deafening war cry. A streak of red fire tore off my mount's wing, and then the long fall back down into hell began. The dragon I was riding was desperately flailing its remaining wing around, like he was grasping for a ledge that simply wouldn't be there. It was as we fell that his tail hit me in the face. One of his sharp scales took my eye, and on the edge of consciousness, I managed to free myself from this harness, so eager to take my life too, and glided my way back down to earth. It was a miracle I survived. I spent the next couple of hours limping back at low altitude on my own wings. I was imprisoned by the officials because they believed I was lying, even in the battered state I was in. Did you get to see the face of the angel, at least? Cake replied curiously, but carefully. I did. It had no face. But as it flew past the belly of my dragon, I looked into the eyes of death. Through the bulbous front of the angel there was glass, where two creatures were sitting. They had no faces. Instead, I could feel their intense stare through their faceless reflective faces. 1 second longer, and I would have believed I was staring into the eyes of a higher power I simply couldn't imagine. Something that comes from a plane of existence far above ours. I started my next pint, hoping to finish it before I started feeling tired. Gods exist, and they sent their best to kill us in defense of their territory they claimed when they descended from the stars.